Hi there, it's Ron McCracken again, downtown Dallas. Just walking home. Just wanted to make a little video about mental health and suicide, and one of many stories about my pursuit of finding effective mental health treatment and counseling. Now this type of thing happened many times, and the common thread is that I didn't have money for therapy and I didn't have insurance, because the insurance costs a lot of money. And like many people, been living paycheck to paycheck for years. Well, anyway, I come back from 2013 Boston Marathon, the bombings, and as if you watched any of my other videos, I've had severe depression and anxiety disorder and ADD for years, and the bombings added a heavy dose of PTSD on top of all that. To put it mildly and bluntly, I was in a whole lot of hurt. And now I did make efforts to find help, but again, the commonality that it had to be free or almost no cost at all, and didn't have to rely on insurance. Well, I found a study. There was one of these local, research firms. It's a big pickup truck. A lot of traffic out tonight. Found one of these big research firms that has all their studies for various medications, for all kinds of things, physical and mental. And there was one that was starting a research study for some medication for severe depression. And so I called up and scheduled an interview, go in and fill out all the paperwork, and you do an interview with one of their doctors, and go from there. And my hope was that, because by that point, that was, I think, summer of 2013. This is a few months after the bombings, and this is after Pretty Girl died too, which was devastating to me. And summer 2000, and I was hoping to get on board with that. At the very least, try this medication for my depression, and then also I think it was every week you check in with a counselor, and they just kind of ask you how you're doing, assess your mental state and all that stuff. And I thought that would be good to at least have a professional taking a look at me, even though it wasn't official therapy, you know what I mean. So anyway, I go in and I'm talking to the doctor who's in charge of the study, the psychiatrist in charge of the study. And of course I needed a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, but still I was looking at basically emergency measures, because I was suicidal and in a lot of trouble mentally, just being overwhelmed with everything. And go in and pass the physical just fine, although my heart rate is chronically low and my blood pressure has always been kind of low too, probably both of those because of my athletics. And we're talking, and he's assessing all my all my issues. I just tell them about my history of depression, tracing back to the early days of my family and all that stuff, and my anxiety. And as I mentioned the bombings and how that really pushed me that much closer to the edge. And he started asking me questions about, well, have you been diagnosed with PTSD? And I said, no, I haven't been diagnosed officially with anything, but I probably have it, just because I know I've gotten a lot worse since the bombings. And he was a lot more concerned and, well, also hesitant after that. And we talked a little bit longer, and he decided that they couldn't take me into the study because he thought that maybe I had PTSD. And I tried to plead my case and say, well, look, I don't know officially that I do or not, which I did, but I told him, look, I'm just looking for help. I'm hoping that maybe these medications that'll help me, plus checking in every week with a counselor and all that. And he just wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to let me in the study because he suspected that I probably had PTSD, which he was correct in that assessment. He didn't officially diagnose me with it, but just from our short conversation, he strongly suspected. And excuse me, once again, it's extremely humid and sticky out here tonight. Typical Texas summer night. It's windy and extremely humid. So anyway, like I said, I pleaded my case with them. He just wasn't going to do it. So I left there. It was in the afternoon. I had about a 30-minute drive home in heavy Dallas traffic. And I cried my eyes out all the way home. Because I was at the point, I was just, the old cliche at the end of my rope. Excuse me, the wind is blowing everything all over the place. I was really at the end of my rope with everything. Just trying to stop the downward spiral. I cried all the way home because at that time there weren't any other options, because I had no money and I had no insurance. And what has to change in this country is our whole approach to mental health. It's still not anywhere in the universe of where it needs to be. Where it needs to be is universal health care that includes provisions for mental health, that will pay for treatment and medications. Because I've known people who were diagnosed and everything, and then they couldn't afford the medications, or they had to ration their medications. And it should never be that kind of choice. Meanwhile, on a related issue, we have 22 veterans a day killing themselves, approximately. I'm sure that number goes up and down here and there, but it's approximately 22 days. But the state our society is in, our approach to it, when Anthony Bourdain kills himself, everyone's all over it. When Robin Williams kills himself, everyone's all over it. It's massive public attention, media attention, everything. We briefly had that fad of doing 22 push-ups a day to bring attention to veterans killing themselves. And that's okay in and of itself, but that didn't actually change anything. What has to change is pushing for policies so that people who don't have money, don't have insurance, don't have hope anymore, so that they're not left out. Trust me on this, it's an awful, awful place to be. So, you know, we all need to, and I'm not going to get political about it, but we all need to push for that. That lack of money and lack of insurance should never keep anyone from getting help for their mental health. The cost is too high. All right, everyone, take care of yourselves. Remember, we are luminous beings. Reach out for help if you need it. Reach out to help other people if they need it. All right, have a good night.